Hey everybody, the data indicate that "and the Word was God" is a mistranslation of the final clause of John 1:1. And this is true even according to the consensus view among evangelical scholars regarding the grammar of the clause "ke theos sino logos." Because that clause is what's called a predication. It's a sentence that says X is Y, where the subject, X, is hologos, the word, and the predicate, Y, is this Greek word theos. And according to the consensus view among evangelical scholars, and this has been argued most authoritatively by Daniel Wallace in his book Greek Grammar Beyond the Basics, if that word theos were naming the God of Israel, it should have the definite article. Because in a predication, if the predicate is a definite noun and it is in the first position, in other words, it precedes the to be verb, if it is a well-known entity and or it has already been named in close context, both of which would be true of John 1:1, it would carry the definite article. It does not, though. It is anarthrous. It has no definite article. And so Wallace has argued, and most evangelical scholars agree, that it should be understood qualitatively. It is not naming the God of Israel. It is describing the qualities possessed by the subject, the Word. And so the most straightforward and accurate translation would be, "The Word was deity." From there, Wallace and most evangelical scholars, however, will argue that, well, because the God of Israel exhausts the category of deity, in other words, because you cannot have deity apart from or in addition to the being and the substance of the God of Israel, "ke theos sino logos" is still identifying the Word as the God of Israel. Now, the problem with this is that it requires imposing this presupposition about God exhausting the category of deity. But that is a philosophical framework that was developed within the Trinitarian debates that took place between the 2nd and the 5th century CE. There are no data that indicate that philosophical framework was operative in the late 1st century CE when the Gospel of John was being composed and when it was initially in circulation. So that reading has no case to make that this is most likely what the author of the Gospel of John intended, or what most likely the audiences understood the text to mean. All it can say is, the text allows us to read it that way, and you can't stop us. And that's absolutely true. I can't say you're not allowed to read it that way. That's not how texts work. What I can point out, however, is that that reading requires retrojecting a philosophical framework that was developed in the later centuries, and that the data do not support the notion that that reading would have had any circulation in the 1st century CE. The data indicate that the text is best interpreted and best translated as "and the Word was deity."